I don't care what people think of me. Like that's the line, right? Like that's the flex. That's supposed to be the finish line of some kind of personal growth talk. I don't know, you just stop caring and suddenly you're free. But I've been sitting with that sentence for a while now, and I think it's actually one of the most dishonest things people can say to themselves. Because saying it, announcing it, like wearing it, that costume, that's not the absence of caring. Like that's a very specific, very loud form of caring. You don't need to tell anyone you don't care unless some part of you is still deeply invested in how you're being perceived by others. So the actual not caring version of a person doesn't really say the sentence. Like they just don't need to because the identity is already there. So let me back that up. Like where does this phrase even come from? So I think it shows a person as amorphous. You get hurt, or you feel like you might get hurt, rejected, laughed at, ignored, and instead of sitting in that, you build a wall, and you call the wall confidence, or I don't know, having self respect. Let's say I don't care what people think. Like becomes the thing you say to yourself or in front of others in the mirror before you leave the house, and over time it stops being a coping mechanism and starts being an identity, like it becomes part of you. And identities, once you build them, want to be seen. Like that's the trap. Like you build not caring as a shield against being seen badly, and now you need people, others, to see that shield, see that part of your identity, which means you're still performing for the audience you claim to have dismissed. Like you just changed what you're performing. And I think like there's a version of this that's even sneakier, like even more cowardly, I would say, like which is when not caring becomes aesthetic, like the effortless look, the I walk up like this. The guy who says he doesn't really care about how his room looks, but has very specific curated the mess. And obviously it's not indifference in any means. Like that's like a genre, like a theme you choose. There's a whole visual and verbal language for performing carelessness, and it's just as rehearsed as the thing it's supposedly rejecting. Like maybe more rehearsed actually, because normal caring is at least honest about like its effort. Like perform not caring has to hide the effort, which takes even more effort, and it's just shows off. People can just naturally tell it. Like here's the part that actually bothers me though, like, because if not caring is performance, then who is it for? Like because the honest answer is like it's for the exact same people you claim not to care about. So you don't perform indifference like specifically for yourself. You don't need an audience of one for a shield. The whole point of this wall is that someone else will see it and go, huh, like that person doesn't care, and reads that as a some kind of a strength. So the performance, the shield only works if it targets audience. The people whose opinions you supposedly don't care about, like which is a very irony, like actually like registers it, which means their opinion is doing a lot more work in your life than it ever did. Like you've just launched it through a some kind of like a posture of dismissal instead of admitting the dependency in like directly. So like what would actual like not caring look like? I think this is the harder question, and I don't think it looks like confidence at all. Like at least not the kind we are used to seeing from people who claim to not care about other people. And I think the real difference, I mean, indifference is pretty quiet. Like it doesn't really announce itself before others because there's nothing to announce. Like there's no audience being managed. If you actually didn't care what someone thought of you, how you perceived by others, then you wouldn't like need this sentence. As I said in the beginning, like you wouldn't need the aesthetic, you wouldn't need the wall, the shield. Like you would just continue living the way you lived, like doing the thing, making the choice, like whatever it is, like without the tool through justification. And if you try this in on whatever it is and you feel like what's the fun here, like you don't feel like you're being yourself, you feel like you're missing out something, and you just want to be perceived as someone. If you feel like you're missing something, then you are the person who used it as a shield and you just dressed it like a costume instead of you being actually being the bad person. So the tell isn't the absence of the phrase, like it's the absence of the need for the phrase to even occur to you. And I think that's actually really rare, like, and maybe like rare than people want to admit, because most of us do care quite a lot, at least like about some people, like some of the time. I don't think that's even a flaw. I think the actual goal isn't to get to zero, like caring what people think is partly just being a human, like a social animal. Like it's wired in. It's not something you defeat, you fight against. Like it's something you calibrate. The question isn't like how do I stop caring others? Like it's who do I actually want my caring to be pointed at? Who actually is worth caring at? Because right now for a lot of people the caring is like pointed at everyone, like diffusely all the time, at strangers, acquaintances, like the algorithm. And that's extremely exhausting, and that's what generates the I don't care defense mechanism in the first place, I think. Or in my case was I just cared too much about others. I oh, that was the only thing that I cared when I head outside. I cared about like strangers, even though they would forget about me in like 2 to 3 minutes. So I kind of blocked myself from them, isolated myself from them. So I'm ashamed of it, but like that was literally what like this defense mechanism uh came in for in my case. So you're not trying to reach for zero, like you're just trying to reach uh specificity, like caring what five people think, like not caring what 5,000 people think. Obviously that's a completely different, much more achievable and honestly much healthier target than the fantasy of total indifference. Like there's also I would like to add like something almost backwards happening. Like if you think about it, the people who actually don't care what others think are usually not the loud ones. Like they are like the ones who are just so specifically narrowly focused on their own criteria for a life that's like a well lived, but other people's opinions just don't register as as a like a relevant information. And if you like take a peek of their life, if you somehow stumble on a person who genuinely just doesn't care about other people's opinion, if like they genuinely feel like untouchable, like there's like a actual shield between like a I don't know, like a cliff between you and him, and no one can touch him. Like he's himself, like he built like an island, but nobody can touch him, and he's been living like that for like years, and it feels a lot alien than most people think. Like the real people who really don't care about other people's opinion are a lot more quirky, and a lot could be registered and perceived as being weird than many people actually think. So it's not that like they overcame caring. It's not. It's that their affection. I mean, their attention is somewhere else entirely. Like not caring in that sense, it's a byproduct of being pointed at something, not a goal you chase directly. So like you don't perform your way into not caring, being nonchalant, because performance requires attention to the audience. So and the this whole thing only works when the audience isn't the point anymore. So it like the ones you try, it's not it anymore. Like you're out of it at that, like in the first place. So I guess where I land is the phrase itself is basically a diagnostic. If you catch yourself needing to say I don't care, that's actually useful information, because it's not a proof that you don't care. It's a proof of exactly the opposite. And it's instead of being annoyed at yourself for that, like it's worth just asking a lot more specific question about like caring about, like from whom and why does this particular person's opinion still have a hook in me. Like that's a lot smaller and more answerable question than how do I stop caring about everything and everyone. And I think it's the only version of the question that actually goes anywhere. So yeah, that's about it in this video. Thank you guys for watching.